Hello and welcome back to the Training Wild Burros Mustang and Burro comparison series. In this video, we're going to be working on adding some chaos while training with Stein. Now, Stein has been a much more reactive horse, and Doc is just, he loves everybody and he always wants attention. So stay tuned. You'll be able to see how Stein does having new people around him and how far he's come since we've begun his training. Here what I'm doing is just working on checking in with Stein before I put the halter on, wanting to make sure that this is a smooth transition from just being out there in the wild pen to putting that halter on with ease and no longer paying him with any oats for this activity. So this is something we always progress out of. I start off with paying him for different things that we're doing, and then as they're good at it, I remove that pay and they would receive pay for something else that's harder. Now, I do use pay for some things, and then some things I don't use any pay for. So here in a little bit, we're going to be doing some groundwork type stuff with asking him to move his front legs or disengage little circles. And with that stuff, I don't use any pay at all. So here I just like to go slow, checking in with him before I do that. And he is curious. You can see how he's looking at me. So he's still curious and with me. I'm glad for that. Now here you see that I'm picking up that rope, getting things untangled, and he gets a little nervous and starts to walk off. I'm not going to be worried about that right now. Today, in both of the video episodes today, we're going to be working Stein and Doc at the same time. And keep watching, because pretty soon my aunt will be catching Stein, and we'll see how long it takes him to be okay with a stranger catching him. Now, all of this is just progressive. Stein's good about being caught just with me or Dan, but right now he's not been caught by anybody else. So having two people in the wild pen while we're working and two animals is a distraction. So it's like a little baby distraction as we start to progress in the training and helping him be more comfortable with more things. This is clearing the front. And we want to do this a lot because it's going to teach them to follow a loose lead rope. I'm going to do the same thing. My shoulder by his head, he's pretty even now. So it doesn't matter which way we go. And he's not taking me up on the good deal. So I'm going to bring my flag up. Do you see how little I bring it up to get him to clear the front? I'm not asking him to go anywhere.
Like this, Mom?
That's right. He did it. So then,
okay.
Okay, so then you shouldn't have put your arm out yet.
Oh, okay.
Because that was telling him what to do. So get him back over there, and then you and I could even, that was a really cool position. We could try to do it at the same time.
All right.
So I'm just going to try to keep Stein here, and you get him back over there. Are we both in the camera? Can you tell?
I think we both see people out.
Okay. So I'm going to need Stein to go towards you, and you're going to go away from me, okay? So we're going to do this at the same time. So don't do anything yet. Just get yourself into position. I'm going to ask him for another step forward. Okay, no, are you ready? You're too close to him. There you go. That's better.
Ready?
Yep. Put your arm out to let him know what you want. And if he doesn't take you up on the good deal, Stein did it. Okay.
Thanks for making my donkey move, Mom.
Okay, I'm going to try to get him just to walk forward. And I might have you just hang on to Stein for a second, and I might do it with Doc.
Okay.
Okay, I don't want you doing it with Stein. Okay?
Yeah.
Because he's so reactive.
Okay.
Okay, switch with me. If he pulls, just hang on to that. He can go a long ways, and we'll still have him.
He's like, whoa, it's a new person holding me.
Okay, so I'm just going to stand here because he does this. I think he does it pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to get myself all into situation, or I can't talk. I'm going to get myself situated with my shoulder by his head. Okay, and I want his head to be forward. Then I'm going to put my arm straight out in front of me. If he doesn't take me up on the good deal, there. And then he's got to find his way around my arm. Okay? So he did it, I think, about as good for you as he did it for me.
Yeah.
All right.
Here, you can have your horse back.
Yeah, he's a little bit more, he's not a beginner horse. All right, is Stein still in the camera? I'm not entirely sure. Let's come forward, Mr. Stein. You tell me when you get over there if you can see Stein. Oh, go figure. Okay. Make sure you're in the camera doing stuff, okay, Paul? So now I'm going to do the same thing. My arm straight out in front of me. My flag just barely comes off the ground. Now I'm asking him for a circle.
So with this one, I can choose which side I do?
Yeah, because he's pretty even. That was my fault. I got a little too far ahead of him. Walk. There we go. Okay, so right now he's kind of hanging on me a little bit. So that's not a good time to release. But when they're walking and they got that C shape to them, and they're not hanging on you, then that's a great time to stop and see if they'll stop. Nice work, Stein. But if they're hanging on you and you stop and release the pressure, you're saying a great way to get me to let go of this pressure and release the pressure is to hang on me. We don't want to teach them to hang on us. Okay, I think we need to switch spots against Paul. What do you think?
Yeah, my donkey's pretty short.
Yeah, so you go over there.
I didn't even think I was in the camera.
Okay. So I'm going to try to do a circle and stay over here, Paul, away from you, okay? And you try to do the same thing. Are you ready? I'm giving him a good deal, and he's not taking me up on it. I pick up my flag. I don't need to pick it up very high. And he starts to move. Now I'm asking him for a circle, and I want to teach him to be centered. So that's where if he starts to hang on me, I'm going to pick up the slack and try to help keep that circle. Teaching this is going to make for a great animal if he can learn to cope and be centered. And now I'm going to see if I can get him to disengage. So to do that, I'm going to put my flag straight up, slide my hand down. That's his good deal. And I'm going to walk a little bit towards his hind end. I'm going to point my toes towards his hind end. That's his cue. Now with the donkeys, often I'm walking more towards their hind end. Paul's trying to do it right now. And he being Doc, is a little bit harder with that one. Doc is just so pushy. But with Stein, it takes so little effort to get him to do that. So I don't take a lot of steps towards his hind end before he does disengage and get it. So we're going to use as little pressure as we need, but as much as we have to.
You know how to do this better. That's, I'm going to reward.
Call that a try and reward the try.
Yeah, he did good the first one and give him a 30-second break.
Mm-hmm.
All his other ones were not as good as that one. So.
Okay. And it'll get better. Remember, these guys are young too. If you're working with a young 1-year-old, it's not all going to be beautiful circles or beautiful disengaging.
So I put my hand up like this.
Yep. You might need to make even more contact, Paul, to get in and get out and not be a nag. There, good. More contact and it was done. Did you say when I said there and good? Stein raised his head. He's a very sensitive horse. And we'll help him get through the sensitive stuff and be able to be a spaz around him. But because he's so sensitive, we're going to tread slowly with that. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of different ways to do it, but that's where my comfort level is.
That was another good one.
Nice.
It's more about how good I do it.
Well, it has a lot to do with that, doesn't it, Paul? If we ask well and we release well, they do well, right?
It's like timing.
Timing is the hardest thing to learn. Okay, you see that I'm a little distance from his head. I don't want him to step over top of me. I'm offering him a good deal. And he says, I'm not following. So I'm going to bring up my flag. Look at how little I bring it up before he does it. That was a try. That was better. Now I want him to walk forward. And I'm going to walk with him. I'm going to keep his head with me. Keep his head with me. So Stein, I think he's a little bit nervous about what Paul's doing. And that's okay, guys. Just adding another person, another animal in here training. We're going to help work on that, work on his coping skills. All right, so in a second here, I am going to go ahead and ask him to disengage. What I'm waiting for is a little bit better of a circle.
You're gonna wait until your circle's over to do this?
Sure. Okay, flag straight up, slide my hand down, pick up my hand, and my toes face his back feet. There, he did a great job. I'm getting buzzed by bees. Stein's licking and chewing. What'd you remember from Ty?
He always self-consciously tells the feet where to go.
Yeah. So you're always trying to tell the feet. You're talking to the feet. So Ty, guys, is my mentor, Ty Evans. And I'm doing, I do clinics with him, and I do the master class, which just really breaks down training. He's not about gentling the animals, because typically he's not working with wild ones. But this stuff here that we're doing now is, I follow what Ty's teaching, and it's, you know, there's similarities to a lot of other trainers, but it's really about offering a good deal and giving them soak time, working together as a team. It's already been 15 minutes.
What?
Yeah, it goes by fast. So it's a half hour total, right? But that goes by fast. I'm very pleased with how Stein is doing, and having a little extra chaos in here with Doc being trained and with Paul at the same time that I'm working with Stein. That's good little step up to coping with extra stressors. I'm thinking I might bring Stein to the Ty Evans Clinic in Hamilton next year. No, we're hosting one in Roundup also, but yeah, in Hamilton. All right, guys, I hope you found this valuable or just enjoyable to watch. I sure appreciate you watching and hitting that like and subscribe button. Have an awesome day. Now, we did the 15 minutes with the centered circles and working on moving that front end over and the back end over independently. Now we're going to practice the feet. Now, they had a break in between the first and the second session here, keeping these sessions short just to help make sure that their baby brains can handle and cope with what we're going to do next. Here you can see the different stages of the training. With Doc, we're working on everything. I think he's ready for the farrier, and the farrier is going to be coming out as I'm editing this video today and starting to teach me and my husband how to trim also. That one was a little fast, Stein, so we're going to do that one again. And you can see that Stein is not as far along as Doc, but he's been more reactive, so he's needed more time.
Are we doing 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 yet?
Yeah, I am doing that with him. All right. You ready? You ready? He's kind of leaning away from me, so I'm going to wait for him to be more ready. There you go. There you go. Ready? Hi. Hi. Foot. Feet. Good job. A bigger pay. Sometimes it's just a small amount, but for that I'm going to give a bigger amount. The break while he's waiting is important, guys. 10 to 30 seconds right now for this, depending on how hard it is for him. Are you ready? Foot. With Doc's progression, we're working on getting him really comfortable with the farrier stand and new people now with Paul doing this. And with Stein there, you saw me check in with target training before I have progressed to holding his foot for just a second. Now I want him to be leaning towards me before I go again. I want to know that he's ready. Are you ready? Huh? Yeah. All right, here we go. Foot. Feet. There you go. Good boy. All right. They sure are getting their winter coat. They're so fluffy now. Ready. Ready. Foot. Feet. Good boy. There you go.
You look like a banana. Is this good? Is he square?
Yeah, but you can look down and see that. Ready. Foot. Feet. Good boy. So I'm starting to put my hand a little bit more around his leg, but when he's picking it up, getting him used to all that movement and the feel of somebody holding him back there. Ready? Foot. Feet. Oh, good boy. Good job, Stein. Now, I'm doing this at liberty, if you guys notice that. There's no halter on him, no lead rope. If he feels like he needs to go, I'd rather have him feel like he can go than to feel like he's going to kick out at me. Hi. You ready? Foot. Feet. Good job. There you go. So we're looking for all those little cues and working Stein and Doc at the same time. Now, Doc does a good job for me putting his feet up there and all the different steps for preparing for the farrier. So having Paul do it is a great step to making sure he's going to be good with a farrier who's somebody, again, new. Now, Paul's not new, but still doing it with other people.
Let me do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 because he got a little nervous.
So then you cut really, really fast.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? Foot. Feet. Okay, one more on the front, then we're back to the last leg.
I don't like you being pushy with me. So I have to move you out of my space.
You ready? So he's looking straight ahead. I'm waiting for him to give me a cue that he is ready. There, he's tilting towards me. Foot. Feet. And we're going to keep building off from this till we're actually at the spot that Doc is at. But because he's been reactive, I want to go slow enough that he stays comfortable.
You want me to do it slow that time?
Very nice, Paul. So you're always building with the confidence for you. Just because he does it for me doesn't mean he's going to do it for somebody else. He's got confidence with me and I have confidence with him. Ready? Foot. Feet. Good job. Okay.
What should I do with him at that time? When I have to...
Ready? Foot. Feet. Good job. Now, guys, you can't see it right now, but he does have a parrot lip. So he's rocking it. He's doing a great job, but that doesn't mean he's not a little bit nervous. And that's why I'm not just grabbing his foot now. We're just working at building confidence. We'll add more later on. Now remember, before we started picking up his feet, we did that target training that I demonstrated first. Ready, foot, deet. Oh, good boy. There. Good job. Have you done all 4 of his feet, Paul?
No, I've been working on it forever.
All right.
I've only done it a few times on each foot. That's not with 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I have one on both sides.
Okay. So then do his back now. Okay, now I'm going to halter Stein. Come on, buddy. Come on.
That's too close on.
Is what too close? Try it and see how it feels. All right. So now you see how his head is angled a little bit away from me. Now he's coming over. Hi, you. So I'm watching for all these cues. And even though we've only been going for about 7 minutes right now, that's still big for him. You see his head is starting to drop. His ears are really focused behind. They're not moving around a lot right now. So I would say that he's still more heightened in his alertness. But his head is low. He's blinking more. Keep watching, guys. Soon, my Aunt Alice is going to work on catching Stein, and we'll see how he does and if he allows a stranger to catch him. So now I'm matching steps with him. We're going to be out of the camera for a minute, guys.
I'm just trying to start out.
Yep. So I'm thinking right now what Stein is doing is he sees comfort in Frank, so he's going to stand next to Frank. But I want him to see me as that source of comfort. So maybe you find yourself nervous about teaching your donkey to pick up its feet, nervous about getting kicked or something bad happening. I used to feel like that also, guys. What I have learned from gentling all the wild donkeys and doing remodels on other older animals, when I go slow and pay attention to how they're feeling, things go pretty smooth. When you're working with them, anytime they're stiff, that's your cue that they're nervous, so slow down. Slow down, give it back. So really what slow down means is pay attention to how they're feeling so that you can go at the speed they're ready for. There he's leaning away. I'm just going to step away and say, oh, I see that you're nervous.
You're not ready for it.
What's your goal right now, Paul?
To just pick up his foot. He got almost a little kicky.
I went back and watched what Paul was talking about when he said that Doc wasn't wanting him to pick up his foot and started to get like maybe a little bit kicky or took his foot away. And what happened there was Paul was doing the wiggle and jiggle method, and it's at 21 minutes, 25 seconds. And I think he just did it for a little long. I'm going to start at the top of his rump, and I'm going to rub him a little bit. Ready, foot. He's a little stiff. So when they're stiff, you know that they're a little nervous. So I'm going to pick it up and set it down because he's stiff. Remember, anytime that we try to go faster, there he was really where he picked it up. So now he's getting lighter. Now I could go ahead and pick it up. He's still stiff. I'm going to give it back. So we're always watching for that stiffness. Stiffness is our cue that he's nervous. He's still stiff. Hopefully, Stein's always blocking the camera. Okay, so now I'm again waiting for him to be there. He's light. Straight back. Now you try it, Paul.
Okay, I did it wrong.
What did you do? What did you forget?
So when I was doing the ferry stand, I was facing this way.
Oh, we don't face that way anymore. So what Paul's talking about is facing forward in case they might kick you, because they can kick. A donkey can kick forward. So you're not doing it wrong, but if you're not going slow enough or you're nervous, then he might be nervous.
I am nervous.
All right, so I'm standing here with you.
Ready?
Start at the rup.
Ready?
Now feel for the stiffness. Wiggle, wiggle. Good. Set it down. Get it back. There you go. So was he stiff the whole time?
A little bit, not
Okay.
a lot.
So if he's stiff, you're just going to give it right back.
Okay.
Okay, that's a key point. Give it back.
All right, ready. Ready. Go. Yeah, eat this.
He's just playing with my hand, guys. There, he got light. Give it back. I need the oats.
Oh. Okay.
So if you are doing this by yourself, then you're just going to have to move up forward and give them the oats. And if you have somebody else, they can watch. What we use for the word is deet when they've got it right, when they found the right answer.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, so
Ready.
and if they're stiff, that's your cue that they're nervous. So when we're wiggling and jiggling their foot to check in to see if they're limp and willing to go to the next step, we're going to do that and then get out. I think maybe he just went for a little bit too long. And our nerves affect this as well. So if Paul was feeling a little bit nervous, then Doc will also.
You gonna give me the foot?
Okay, so he's getting oats as soon as he picked it up. He's still on his toes, so you can go back there and rub it, rub it, rub it. And while they're rubbing it, they get oats the whole time. Hi, Stein. Hi. Okay, now you go back and pick it up.
Okay.
And he looks like he's lighter now.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Ready.
Now you can set it on your knee.
Okay. Ready.
Okay. Now, when I'm watching you, Paul, and you're petting him, you kind of look like you're trying to get a fly off from him.
Okay.
So come stand here, and I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm going to use your shoulder. Okay, so I'm just like, that's what you look like. When I pet him, it's like a soothing pet.
Okay.
Okay, so make
like this?
Yeah, just like I'm just soothing. Like, it's like, wow, I'm just going to soothe your rump so you know I'm coming, right? And it's like a caressing his body so that it's calming. Because I want you to think about if this is calming compared to going like this.
Okay.
Okay, what kind of energy? We're always looking at what kind of energy we're giving.
Should we let them see it on the other side, what I do? Or do you?
I just demonstrated so they could see on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to give them a break now, and then we're going to work on some circles, and then these guys will be done. And we're going to work on Frank and little dude. And then after that, we will put them out on the 2 acres so they get to go running around and be silly. We're going to see if we can get this on tape. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting my hand on the other side of his chin, and then I'm lightly putting pressure on and asking him to turn his head towards me. This is in the process of preparing to catch with quality. And when I do that, I do want him to turn his head. But we just started working on this. There we go. So it's pressure and release, pressure and release. Keep them with me. The hair, and then you can just release it, and we can just do this a little at a time, working our way up to him being okay with that pressure on the side and asking him to turn his head towards us for putting on the halter. So they're just chilling out, feeling the sun. It's getting cold out. Got my winter hat on, my winter jacket, and I just got done cleaning the pen, and now I'm just hanging out. Just a little bit of pressure there. See how he's starting to do it? Now, a few weeks ago, that wouldn't have been okay at all for him. He would have been too nervous. Let's see if he, there. So just a little at a time. That's really good, Stein. All right, guys, I'm not training today. These two have had some time off while I've been working towards my goal of 100 rides. And here's Stormy. Stormy hasn't been rode because he got hives from something he ate. And these two here have just been cracking me up. Sniffing Stormy. And I'm just petting and loving on them. Remember, don't forget, remember to give them time, just not asking questions, just hanging out. Frank likes my phone. Just hanging out and loving on them is very important. Oh, you have such pretty eyes. All right, guys, so this is just a very simple day of scratching and loving on him. I am pulling Stein's head over towards me or asking him for his head, and he's doing that pretty well. Pretty simple, though, not too much going on. Remember, the Mustang we brought home, reactive, nervous. Look at how far he's come. This is so amazing. Just about a week ago, I petted him while he was laying down for the first time, and now Stein's letting Dan come in here and pet him also. I love seeing how far he's come, and this gives me so much joy. Now this is a very exciting week for me. My aunts are here to visit. Aunt Alice is who you see in the camera, and then Aunt Sue are here, and I am just tickled pink that I get to spend the week with them. Now these two are who I learned to ride with. I used to go with Aunt Alice here and ride all the time on my horse I later on bought from her, Danny Boy. And then Aunt Sue, I bought another horse from, Stormy, and I still have Stormy. He's 24 years old now. So this first picture here is Danny Boy is the white horse, and then the black horse is Stormy. And then the next picture here, I am on Stormy, and my Aunt Alice is on Stormy's mom. This next picture is Hannah Banana on Danny Boy. I just appreciate so much, guys, having well-trained animals that I can enjoy and ride without any fear. And I was able to do that, or have been able to do that, thanks to my aunts who I've learned so much from and learned what I don't know. So these guys are experienced horse owners. They've not worked with donkeys or mules very much, and not wild animals. So having them here and introducing them to some stuff that I've been learning is pretty darn neat. I adore these guys. These guys are so wonderful, and I am so grateful to be able to spend the week hanging out with them. We don't live in the same state, so we don't get to see each other very often. So now Alice here is going to work on catching Stein. It's going to be very interesting to see how Stein does with being around somebody new, somebody who's a stranger to him. It's pretty windy out today, so sometimes you'll hear the wind blowing. I'll try to cut a lot of that out. But that wind certainly could affect Stein's willingness to be caught by somebody new. So right now, Aunt Alice is just working on trying to get Stein to turn and face her, kind of just checking in with him to see how willing he's going to be caught. And you can see Doc coming up. Doc has no fear of anybody, so he is willing to go and hang out with Alice, and they could just be best friends already, where Stein has to think about it. Right now I'm walking through Aunt Sue on what we're doing for training, so that way she's doing similar stuff that I would do with Frank. And I didn't get any of that on video, but we'll be able to keep watching how Stein does with being caught with somebody new. Now, of course, I don't need to teach these guys anything. They already know. They're so good with horses. But they want to know what I've been doing, so that way they're keeping up with what these guys have been introduced to so far. Now, when Stein moves away, he'll go out of the camera quite a bit, and I'll just keep adjusting things to get Alice back into the camera view as she works on catching Stein. So stay tuned so you can see if Stein is okay being caught by a stranger. Now, if you haven't watched before, you're watching the Mustang and Burro comparison series. And with this, I am recording all of the sessions, all of the training sessions with Stein and Doc here. So if you just like to watch training and the animals, or if you're looking for ideas or what works and doesn't work, you can watch all of these training sessions in the Mustang and Burro comparison series that I'm doing here. And you can see Alice there. She's still just kind of checking in. And even there, as she just raised her arm with the halter in there, Stein said, "Ooh, I think I'm a little nervous," and he walks away. It's very important to remember to work with the animal you have today. So remember, it's really super windy. You can see my flag blowing around there. And so the goal is to come in here and do groundwork. However, if Stein's not ready for that, we're just going to work with the horse that we have today. And it's okay to go slow and do what they're ready and capable of, rather than trying to push things too far. What I have found in my experience, anytime I try to push things too far when they're not ready, things don't go well. Or I go backwards. Like maybe I get the task accomplished that I was wanting to do, but because they didn't feel heard or that I understood their feelings, the next time I go work with them, we go backwards and I just have to start over. So going slow pays off in the long run. So here again, Alice is just checking in with Stein. It's really windy. And here I am using my flag just to do circles with Doc. Now remember, Doc, he's more pushy. Sometimes I'm using my flag more, probably adding to Stein's nervousness. So I'm starting off with my flag, but later on I'm going to put my flag down and just do other things. Right now, Stein is just getting used to having other people in the pen, where I've started to introduce that with the kiddos training. Some days the kiddo or Dan are training one animal and then I'm training the other one. So he is getting some used to having two people in the pen and two animals in the pen. However, it's still new in his training. You can see right now Stein is watching what I'm doing more than Alice. And he doesn't know Alice, so it's not really a surprise that he's concerned about what I'm doing over there. Maybe you guys have somebody in your life who really has played a giant role in helping you come into the horse, donkey, mule world. I'd love to hear it in the comments. Now, again, my Aunt Alice and Aunt Sue have been the main reason I've been able to enjoy riding with them and anybody else. I was in a horse accident when I was 14 years old. Not with these guys, but because of my horse accident, I was pretty hurt and I didn't have a lot of bravery to go ride again, but I really wanted it. I wanted to ride so bad, and I would go hang out with Aunt Sue and Aunt Alice and ride. Once I got my driver's license, I would go to Aunt Alice's house on a pretty regular basis and ride with her on Danny Boy and the other horses that she had at the time. Now, they were great going slow with my nervousness and helping me become brave and learn that as I went. And then later on, I started to hang out with Aunt Sue, also riding on a regular basis. Both of these guys ride and train their own animals, and I've been able to learn a ton from them, including that I don't know anything. I remember one time Aunt Sue told me, "Well, the only thing you have going for you right now is that you want to learn," because my timing was so poor. That's probably something we can all be improving on, but at the time, I had no concept of timing. And I've just been learning as I go. Since I started training the wild Mustangs and donkeys, we've also done remodel projects with mules. I've been really learning and diving deeper into the training rather than just riding an animal that's already trained. And this has been so enjoyable for me. So here you can see again, Aunt Alice just really checking in with Stein. Now, if she were to go just try to put that halter on, he probably wouldn't be there. If you guys have been watching the comparison series, you've seen that Stein is a pretty reactive horse, pretty nervous guy. Not a lot of coping skills yet, so we're working on building up those coping skills. You can see that he is leaning away from her a little bit, and that she's not going in because of that. Now, that's nothing I taught her. She knows this stuff. So keep watching. We'll see if Alice is able to catch Stein, the wild Mustang. So here, guys, Aunt Alice is noticing that the shadows are affecting Stein. So when I'm using the flag and the shadows waving, Stein's getting nervous. So here I'm going to switch over and stop using the flag. I probably should have done this a long time ago, but here we go. I'm going to stop using the flag, and we're going to see if that helps not having the shadows move around and cause Stein anxiety. It is so slippery, muddy. It's been raining and snowing, and it's just icky in that pen right now. So what I'm going to do is start working with Doc on just flexing, disengaging, just trying to make sure that he's willing to follow that lead rope and understands what those things mean. And you can see that Stein has been standing still for maybe a little bit longer than he had been. So that's already making an improvement, not having that flag cause him anxiety. So watching and paying attention to what might be causing them anxiety is a really big deal to help gentle and get trust from your animal, whether it's wild or domestic, and just doesn't trust for whatever reason. Now, both Doc and Stein, all three of them actually, Dr. Frankenstein, are all 1 year old. Doc and Stein were both born in captivity, whereas Frank was born in the wild. Now, I had heard that if they're born in captivity, it's easier to gentle and train them. And then I've noticed that that's not the case. Frank has been easy. We call Frank the whatever horse. Frank has taken easily and quickly to everything that we've done with training, whereas the Stein needs a fair amount more time to become comfortable with different things. So their personalities are very different. They're from different HMAs, and that's in the description. But Stein and Doc were both born in captivity, whereas Frank was born in the wild. And we have also read that when an animal is born in the wild, even if they're only there for like 6 months, that they have a little bit more coping skills because they have more life experiences. And maybe that's true. If you have any experience with animals born in captivity versus in the wild and the differences you've noticed, I'd love to hear that in the comments. Here with Doc, what I'm working on is having him flex and then using my thumb and pressing it onto his side to have him disengage his hind end. Now, we don't want to do that if they're hanging on the halter at all, and he's a little resistant, and that's just the different personalities. So I'm just going to wait for it. I'm not going to add more pressure when he's not moving. I'm just going to keep waiting. And here I'll go adjust that camera so that it's aiming back towards Aunt Alice and Stein again. Remember about waiting until you are pretty certain they're going to say yes before you attempt. So Alice really hasn't tried up until now to put on that halter. She's been just checking in with him, just seeing if he's willing to stand next to her. And when you feel pretty confident that they're going to say yes, that's where you're going to ask for that yes question. So here she's petting him with the halter. We've been going for about 15, 16 minutes now, guys, and Stein hasn't been willing to stand next to her. Now, when we first started this, I thought we would all go in here and do training. I didn't imagine that the training was just going to be putting on the halter, but always working with the animal that we have today, and then asking that question once you feel pretty confident that they're going to say yes, so you don't have all kinds of attempts and fails. And you can see here, she's asking for his neck to come over a little bit. And he's a little resistant, but he's doing it. And she's just doing a lot of repetition over and over, petting him, reassuring him. And here she's going to start again with that halter and petting him more with the halter. Now, if you guys have been watching, you guys know that I'm able to walk up and halter him right away. But that doesn't mean that everybody is. And sometimes I do need to take more time to help make sure he's in that right state of mind so that we're not going too fast and losing any of the trust that we've built. I am just excited that Stein is allowing her to halter him and that she knows enough to wait until she's pretty confident he's going to say yes. So again, this took about 15 or 17 minutes before she was able to halter him. And we're not going to do any more because that was a big enough lesson for him. He's nervous and we want this all to be a good experience for him. So now we got that halter on. We're going to take it off. I did walk up to him to see if I could just re-halter him again, but I could tell that he was not in the mood to say yes. So I just left it at that. I sure appreciate you watching. I hope you find this helpful. Love to hear your comments. Thanks again for watching, and I hope you have a super awesome day.